Hi, welcome to Relish Books. Today I'm sharing a couple little lists that I made of very well-known heroines and putting them into either cool or not cool girl groups. This is a list that I thought would be fun just for the girls out there who don't fit into those cool girl groups. I kind of made it for myself just to be funny. Because I'm very shy. I have a very hard time making friends. I definitely have never been in the cool girl circles. But a lot of heroines don't fit in and are kind of solitary as well. So I thought I would just make a little list of the ones who are kind of on the outskirts of society, of their society, who don't, and maybe some of them have friends and family, but they don't have like a girl group that they fit into, so to speak. And then I made a little list of the cool girls as well. Not so much the ones who like fit in, because most people don't write books about girls who just fit in, but maybe girls with a lot of confidence, who are dynamic, who are going to have a circle around them wherever they go, who are good at making friends. So you could kind of classify this as like not popular and popular, or not shy and shy. But I just thought it would be kind of fun to talk about. So, on my not cool girl list, I have Jane Eyre and Lucy Snow at the top. These are two of Charlotte Bronte's main characters from the book Jane Eyre and Villette. Both very solitary, lonely girls in their world, partly just the way that they grew up. They didn't really have a lot of opportunity to have female friends, at least not of the frivolous nature. Lucy Snow even more than Jane Eyre, because she's all alone without family or connections, and she then moves to a city where everyone's religion is different than hers, everyone's language is different than hers, so she is very, very alone and actually suffers some pretty severe depression about it. So, very solitary characters, and even if they did have the opportunity to like enter society where there would be like these cliques and girl groups, I don't think they would really fit in. They're very solid, serious people. So yeah, definitely not cool girls, but great characters. Scarlett O'Hara. Now, she is very popular with the men, but that fact alone is going to make her unpopular with most women of fashion and society. That, along with that she's an unscrupulous person who only ever serves herself and her own priorities, so she won't hesitate to try to take another woman's man if she wants to. So, not having a lot of friends in the women of society. The only true female friend she has, of course, is someone who is an unselfish friend to her, even though she's not really a friend to them. So, Scarlett O'Hara, definitely not one of the cool girls, and also just kind of a not cool person in general, although she is a great literary character. Jo March, one of my favorite characters. I think she's great, but she doesn't fit in. Something about heroines is whether they're popular or not, they are generally someone who, merits a book being written about them. So they're different in some way. They're not just a crowd follower. But yeah, she has strong female friendships with her sisters, of course. But other than that, she doesn't really like female society that much. She's much more drawn to male companionship. So, and she doesn't care about fashions or trends or society decorum, really. So, not part of the cool girl club. Anna Karenina. You don't get a whole lot about her society life before her whole affair, which kind of estranges most of her friends, but you get the impression. It's interesting that she is such a huge character in literature, because you really get the impression that she's kind of a cold, unpleasant proud kind of woman in her relations with other women, if I'm remembering my impressions correctly from the time. So even though she is very high up in society, at least at the beginning, I wouldn't really call her a cool girl. Anne Elliot from Persuasion. I think this is a perfect example of a great character who, if you're not in the cool girl club, you should try to be like Anne Elliot, because even though she's the quiet one, she's always in the corner at parties. She has a lot of strength of character. She's not like over shy. She's just quiet and serious. And when people get to know her, when people genuinely get to know her, they really like her. So I think she's a great example of a character who is not in the club, but a great person. So that is Anne Elliot. Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. She is one of those, kind of similar to Jane Eyre and Lucy Snow. She's very solitary, very lonely. The Brontes tried to write about normal people. And that can sound funny because they're famous for writing such extremely extraordinary people, but they're ordinary in that they tend to be middle or lower class. They're not beautiful. They're not super accomplished. They're lower in society and just give you a sense of, yeah, this is a real, normal, ordinary person. I think the problem with Agnes Grey as a book is that she made it so ordinary and normal that there wasn't really any novel quality about it. They're such normal people with not a ton of interesting events that kind of makes it a forgettable book that people don't really pay a lot of attention to. But she's definitely not one of the popular girls. Fanny Price from Mansfield Park by Jane Austen as well. I have a lot of Austen characters on here because they're a great spectrum of popular to not popular. She's kind of similar to Anne Elliot, in that she is quiet and shy. She's more extreme. Like, you could even maybe say that she has a little bit of a phobia of society. I don't really like talking about phobias, but that's maybe how we would kind of define it. So she's not just as, Anne's very quiet and steady. Fanny's maybe even more like, especially early on in the book, you could say she's like of a more nervous, excitable nature. She does, I think, grow in that by the end of the book, but very shy. But again, under her nervous, shy exterior, there's a lot of strength and depth of personality that her very popular cousins don't possess. So, and then Mrs. De Winter from Rebecca. I love this character. She also doesn't really have the opportunity of having a lot of female friends. The society that she moves in doesn't offer that. But even if it did, I don't think she would really fit into the crowd. She's very shy. She's awkward, kind of clumsy. According to her, she's not like that pretty. When you kind of see her a little bit through the eyes of other people, I think she is. But she doesn't think highly of herself. She doesn't have a lot of self-confidence. So yeah. But a great character. And I love that you see kind of the shift in her character from being someone who is just super scared of doing the wrong thing all the time to when there's a crisis and she's needed, she steps up and becomes confident because she's no longer thinking about herself. And when she's not thinking about herself, she is able to really fulfill her personality. Lily Bart. This one's funny because I originally had her on the cool girls list. But I think even though she's kind of the epitome of a society woman. She lives for society. She actually needs it. It's a necessity for her. But at the same time, she doesn't really want it. She acts perfectly. She has perfect charm. She has perfect fashion, perfect beauty. She knows exactly what to say and do in all these circumstances. But she doesn't really want to. She feels that she needs to, so she's pursuing this. She's pursuing popularity, but she doesn't really want it. And I think that sense, her actions end up causing everybody to kind of turn on her. But even apart from that, I think that some of the other women of her circle can kind of sense that she doesn't actually want to be one of them. While their kind of shallow performances are who they are, hers are genuinely just a show. And I think they can kind of sense that. I don't know. You could actually put Lily Bart on either list, but I put her on the not cool girls kind of just for fun, kind of like as a conundrum, because she is in some ways kind of the definition of a cool girl. So, and then the last one on my list, again, this is just a short list of some very popular, very well-known characters. I put Hermione Granger because thinking about having girl groups and feminine society, Hermione is definitely more the kind of girl, kind of like Jo March in some ways, who is always going to be closer friends with men in her life. And I think part of that, the movies kind of tried to make her be more of a cool girl in every sense. In the books, though, she really is a pretty awkward person in a lot of ways. And her extreme cleverness and know-it-allness do not make her popular with most people. And so, yeah, I definitely don't think that she is one of the cool girls. So, moving on to the cool girl list. This one's a little shorter because I was focusing more on the other one, but these girls aren't so much like just girls who fit in the cool girl groups, but are maybe more trendsetters, the kind of people who are outgoing and who have like a group around them all the time, who can make friends, who aren't worried about making friends or being a social outcast because they're so used to it. They kind of take it for granted. They are very self-confident, sometimes too much so, which kind of marks them as popular. Top of the list, Emma Woodhouse from Jane Austen's Emma. She doesn't have a lot of equals in her female society. And if she did, maybe she wouldn't be quite so much of a trendsetter, but she would still definitely be in the club. As it is, she's kind of the top of the girl group, such as it is. She sets trends, she leads society in a lot of ways. She has so much self-confidence, she would never stop to worry about making friends. And I think when you don't ever have to worry about that, you're definitely one of the popular ones. So, Emma Woodhouse, top of the list. Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables. She's supposed to be like very different from most of the girls around her, from like going to school, but she's different in a good way. She's different in one of those ways that all the other girls in school kind of want to be, so they cluster around her. And anyone who doesn't like her and like says bad things about her or is her enemy or whatever, it's clearly portrayed that they're just doing that because they're jealous. I actually think that that Ella Montgomery was a little heavy-handed in this. I don't like quite how popular and esteemed that she made Anne. It doesn't feel quite real. I think she was being a little too biased on the part of her character. I mean, there are going to be people who genuinely aren't interested and don't care about Anne, but that's never the way it is. Everybody either looks up to her or is jealous of her. So, definitely a leader of society, one of the cool girls, but she's kind of kind of the leader, not maybe always the leader, but a set apart, special, but still part of the group type of girl. Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. She is different. She doesn't just follow trends, but she has a lot of boldness and a lot of confidence. She doesn't always fit in with society, but she doesn't mind that, and she can always find friends and have a circle of people around her, which is why I put her on the cool side, even though she has kind of qualities of both. Shirley from Charlotte Bronte's novel Shirley. Again, a beautiful, accomplished woman who has such confidence in being popular that she naturally is. And this one is probably less known, but I thought it'd be fun. This is one of the only examples I can really think of in stuff that I've read, at least stuff that I've liked, of kind of a girl who is just a normal girl who fits in her group. She has both friends and enemies, but she's kind of one of the popular girls, but she's not like super spoiled by it. And that's Judy from Daddy Longlegs. I think it's a very fun book, just lighthearted, a very light read, but a lot of the times when you read those books that are like about going to school, which it isn't high school for her, this is actually college, a lot of the books like that, there's a lot of drama about like friend groups and stuff like that, and this doesn't really have that. She genuinely loves and enjoys her school experiences, and she's not like a mean popular girl. She's a nice, just regular, jolly kind of person who gets along well with most people, has a lot of friends, makes friends easily, and just has a lot of fun. And that makes it kind of a refreshing read from a lot of things that, if they're like in a school setting like that where it's just like straight up drama. So yeah, that's a fun one, but she's definitely one of the popular girls. And then I put Mrs. Dalloway, Clarissa, from Virginia Woolf's novel. I don't know how popular and dynamic her personality is, but she's a leader in society. So she always has a circle of people. Society is very important to her, and she is, because of her situation, like if she was lower class, I don't know how popular she would be, because she is kind of, I think she can talk well, but throughout the book, in her introspection, she feels like kind of a shy person. So, I don't know, but I do think in her situation in life, she is a trendsetter and someone who is considered cool by the people around her. Then I have, finally on the list, another really good example, I think, Daisy Buchanan from The Great Gatsby. She's a very unhappy person in a lot of ways, but she is a society girl through and through. She's frivolous, she's charming, she's beautiful, she is very flighty, she doesn't have a lot of weighty thoughts in her head, but she's always going to be popular wherever she goes. Yeah, very, very popular type of girl, and is going to have a lot of friends and other women around her of the same style. So those are my thoughts on not cool versus cool girl heroines. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of fun to think about how heroines in books are generally not just people who fit in. I think this is something that we all know, but it can be fun to remember that, think about it. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.